Welcome back, everybody.
Hello, hello out there in television land.
Yes.
Welcome to the second half. Welcome to the second half
Yes.
of the Mary Elizabeth Variety Hour.
Yes. Starring
In
Kayla
April,
Zor.
guest starring Kaye Lazar. And let me tell you something. I we were questioning whether we were going to do a second half, and I only made one stipulation. Can I wear the same clothes?
Yeah, I mean,
I didn't want to have to change
Yeah.
into a new costume like Cher or Elton
Yeah.
John or something.
Yeah.
So I'm wearing. So you poor people, you're gonna get the same
Yeah,
costume again.
exactly. Yeah.
Oh, let's see what I got here. I got the Richmond Braves
It's upside down.
badge.
It's
Yeah,
upside
it
down.
goes.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, it looks like the Atlanta Braves.
Yeah.
The only Indian team about Native Americans that still has kept their name so far. So far,
Okay.
I used to be an Atlanta Braves fan, and then the Richmond Braves, their farm team, moved out of Richmond. And then the next year, I was rooting. I think Atlanta Braves won the World Series last year, and I started rooting. This is like the year after I started rooting for Atlanta Braves. Why am I rooting for the Atlanta Braves? I gotta pick a new favorite team.
Right.
So, and this I got in
Oh,
Florida,
I love that
and this
film.
is
I'm looking at that.
it's from Seuss.
Yeah.
What's it called? Whoville?
Universe. Whoville, yeah.
Seussville or whatever it's called, and it's in the Universal Studios. It's this
Oh yeah.
whole place that
I'm
looks
going
like
there in November.
yeah, it
Yeah.
looks like in the books, the Dr. Seuss architecture and everything.
Yeah, I'm going there in
And this is
November.
my
Yeah,
two favorite
so
members of quality literature, Thing One and Thing Two.
yeah, that's cute. I'm going there in November.
There you go.
I'm
We'll have
going
a
to
good time.
Magic Kingdom, Universal Studios, and some other places.
There you go.
Yeah, it's a shame you can't go in.
Well, that's the
Yeah.
way it goes. I
Well.
see everything already. I've been
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
Been there, done that.
yeah.
I don't know.
I know, but I wanted you to join me, but
We're doing the show. What more
yeah,
do you want?
right.
Our fun is your fun.
Yeah.
Don't get mad at us. Live through.
I know,
Sound
look.
like John Lovitz.
Yeah. He's funny, John
Oh,
Lovitz.
John Lovitz, hilarious.
Oh my gosh, I was going to talk about that movie called High School High.
Very funny movie. Yeah.
There's a funny part where they have like the high school had like a dance party thing, and then the DJ, and then John Lovitz goes up to the DJ saying, This is worth the fine print. Play this, would you?" And then the record starts playing. It was like a rhinestone cowboy. And then all the high school people were like looking at him all funny.
Little square
Yeah, that was
music.
like my favorite. That was like my favorite part. Though. It was
Yeah.
hilarious because the kids today are not used. Some of them are not used to the old stuff.
The old, well, okay. I don't know who really watches our show. I mean, what age demographic? I like to think
Yeah.
we do a good show, everyone would like it.
Yeah.
But I always tell the youngsters out there, or like somebody had so. I always tell the youngsters out there that listen to your parents, listen to your grandparents, the music they play,
Yes,
because
yes.
you might like
I
what they
enjoy
do.
old music. You know,
Yeah.
my grandfather and my mom and my dad and all them and my grandma all introduced me to old music.
Yes.
That's about all I listen to anymore.
Well, I got to tell you, when I was you won't believe what I used
Yeah.
to listen to as a little kid.
Yeah.
They said I really liked the music of Al Jolson,
Oh, I
and
love
it's all
Al
good, and it's all good
Jolson.
music.
Yeah, yeah.
But now you have the blackface and everything, and it's kind of it's very hard to even find. You might find on the internet, but even TCM doesn't even show a lot of
I know.
blackface. Those used
Yeah.
to be in a lot of movies, but I really like the Al Jolson songs, and I was
Yeah.
very good at singing them. I didn't wear blackface, obviously, but I was very good
I
at singing
have
his song. And he had a sort of style that was very
right.
favorable
La
to a
la
little kid.
la 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 la. I think he had like a really
No, he had a very
bassy.
no, he had a very high voice. He goes, California, here I come.
Here I
I
come.
know all the open up.
I have.
It's almost like a male version of
Yes.
like a Ethel Merman the way she sang.
I have
How you
one of
doing?
his. I have one of his '78 records.
Yes.
Like a set of
Hey,
78 records from him.
yeah.
And I also
How you
have
doing,
a
pal?
30. I also have a
Getting an
33
audience
third
here.
one. So
And
yeah.
yeah,
So
so hey, how you doing? We're going.
Yay! Good
We're
to
getting
see
an
you.
audience here.
Yeah.
Doing a the TV internet show.
Yeah.
And so I would so I really so I like anything with Al Jolson in it. He was already long dead when I was born,
Yeah.
but and my mom said that if there's if there's a like a what we call it reincarnation. A lot of
Yeah.
people like to believe in that
Yeah.
stuff,
Yeah.
and they said he might be reincarnated. Probably in his former life, he was a big Al Jolson fan.
Yeah. I think.
And then you see a lot of kids that like the Beach Boys, little kids, or the
Yeah.
Beatles. They just like it,
Oh yeah.
or
Yeah. Yeah.
Elvis.
Yeah.
And then you say, well, they might have maybe in a former life they
Yeah.
liked that that
Yeah.
was, or
Just
maybe they
like
were Elvis
me.
themselves.
Just like me.
So anyway, I mentioned Al Jolson.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got this album, and it's really good.
He's
It's
really good.
Mandy Patinkin,
It's
and
good.
this is his
He's
first
good.
album.
He sings a lot of Broadway stuff.
Well, he's a Broadway
Yeah.
performer.
Yeah.
I'll tell you about him in a moment. He did something this week that was quite extraordinary. But this is his first album. He sings a medley of they call it the Happy Medley, but they don't say these are all songs by Al Jolson. And there's a Rainbow Around My Shoulder,
Right.
Alexander Ragtime Band, Swanee, My Mammy,
Yeah.
Handful of Keys. These songs are but because they're associated with Al Jolson, you wonder it's not enough. I wonder if there's now considered politically incorrect now
Yeah.
because they're associated, but they're written by people like Irving Berlin
Right. Yeah.
and Gershwin and white Jewish guys,
Yeah.
but and Manny Patinkin is a white Jewish guy from
Yeah.
Chicago. But in fact, I and it's still entertaining, but
Yes.
but you still can't in
Right.
this culture we have
Yeah. Yeah.
today.
Yeah.
I went to see Michael Feinstein perform at the Altria Theater once, and he did a whole just like this, like Mr. Patinkin. He did a whole medley of Al Jolson songs, and since
Right.
they're mainly old white people in the audience, they all
Yeah.
clapped at each one. They loved them. But like, let me get back to Mandy Patinkin. Mandy Patinkin is like the like was Stephen Sondheim's favorite performer.
Yeah.
Him and Bernadette Peters. There were a lot of his shows, and you probably remember him from he's on the TV show Homeland. He doesn't sing on Homeland.
Oh
He doesn't
yeah.
sing on and he doesn't sing on Chicago Hope. But he did this week. There was a miniseries about Benjamin Franklin on PBS by Ken Burns, and he the voice of Ben Franklin. He has nothing. He's nothing at all like Ben Franklin, but he had that voice that you could imagine how Ben Franklin sounded. It was a very
Good
good show.
night,
Yeah.
not the sun from the place night. My moon lost in memory. She is smiling alone.
Well, what's famous about Manny
I
Patinkin?
think he sings a cat song.
Well, he
I
sings.
think that's what I'm
I think it's
singing.
on here. No, it's not on here. But
Oh,
it's
okay.
but
Well, it's kind of
he
close
has
to
a
it, I
few
guess.
albums, and he certainly has a lot of Broadway
Yes,
cast albums.
yes.
He is most famous. I guess he was played Che Guevara in the original American
Right,
version of
right,
Evita,
right.
and he wasn't. I think Antonio Banderas played him in the movie, played that
Oh,
character in the movie. But Manny Patinkin is very talented, and and this album has a couple of songs on here that are like he sings "Over the Rainbow."
oh
You know,
yes. Oh my gosh, he does it really
you
good.
assume that
He,
Judy Garland can only is the only one who
yeah.
could sing it great, but he actually sings it great. And I got to tell you a funny story. I heard him sing it on the
So,
David Letterman show, "Over the
yeah.
Rainbow," and then I went out and bought the CD,
Oh
and
wow.
he sings exactly as
Yes.
you would think. I'm going to probably put it
Yeah.
in the comments that version.
Somewhere over the rainbow, why can't I?
But what's cool about but I played it once for someone who knows the Wizard of Oz who that's like their favorite movie.
Yeah.
Hated his version of it. He goes, he doesn't sound like Dorothy singing it. Sounds like that Tin Man singing.
Well, they're wrong. They're wrong because I think this version is just as good as
It's
the
just as
other
good. Yeah,
version.
yeah.
So
It's not
I
the
mean, you
original version,
can't
but
just
yeah.
like just step over it. Oh, this one better than the other one.
He also sings
But
"Brother, Can You Spare a Dime," and he
yes, that's a
sings
good one too.
the song from "Boy You Got Trouble" from the Music Man. He sings a lot of good songs
A
on here on this
brother,
album.
can you spare a dime?
Yeah. And he's so dramatic when he sings that one.
Yes, yes.
But I but yeah. Oh, by the way, did you know about the song "Over the Rainbow" that um I mentioned it to you last week that that the producers of the studio, it was MGM, was so upset about over the movie The Wizard of Oz. They
Yes.
said it's taking too long for her to get to Oz. We got to tighten that up. And
Yeah.
that song Over the Rainbow's got to go. Got to go.
Yeah.
And then Harold Arlen, who
Yes.
and Yip Harburg,
Exactly.
who wrote the songs,
Right.
they had some
Right.
sort of say in the matter. They
Yeah.
said, "No, you're not going to cut that song. We worked very hard on that song. We think it's a pretty good song.
Yeah.
Cut something else." So they cut later in the show
The,
the Jitterbugs.
yeah. They did take out some scenes and the Wizard of
Yeah,
Oz. Yeah.
but it was so wonderful they kept Over the Rainbow
Yeah.
in that movie because Over the Rainbow, it might be the most famous song
Yeah. Well, I
ever
bet
written or ever written for certainly for a
it
movie.
did get famous.
Yeah,
So
and
they were right.
they were right. They were right. It became a signature tune for Judy Garland.
Yeah. Sorry to change subject
Yeah.
there, but you know, have you heard of something weird in that movie? Like after Dorothy and the Scarecrow and all them, meet the Tin Man.
Yeah.
At the end of that scene, in the
Oh yeah.
background, some people think, there was a person that tried to commit
Yes.
suicide.
It's still kind of funny to see that because it's so glaring that you see. It looks.
Yeah,
I think it's a bird or a shadow of a bird
yeah.
on a branch, but it looks like someone's hanging from a
Some
from a
people,
noose.
some
They think it's
people.
a munchkin that
Yeah, that's
committed
what I was
suicide,
getting ready to
but it's
say.
not. It wasn't.
But my mom noticed that before I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, my mom just like pointed at that scene. She's like, Mary, look, guys.
One thing we like to notice in The Wizard of Oz every time we watch it is the scene where she goes on the yellow brick road and she says goodbye to the Munchkins, but they cut the scene before she goes too far because it's really just a wall.
Oh yeah, yeah,
The perspective looks pretty cool, like the roadrunner and the wall and the
yeah,
coyote running into the wall. But it's just a wall.
yeah,
They stop it right there. Let me
yeah.
tell you, there's another movie, and you know what movie I'm going to say, 3 Men and a Baby, where
Uh,
somebody is walking by and there's a person looking through a window. And for years, that was rumored to be a ghost. People
yeah, yeah,
believe
yeah.
that nonsense. And then the producer of, I think Leonard Nimoy directed it. Somebody had to step forward and say that was a cutout of. It doesn't look like Ted Danson, who's I think a star, a actor in the show, stuck in a window. Either was left there by accident or was left there on purpose. But they didn't think it would look so eerie and ghostly when people walk by and saw this thing peeking through a window. And it's only the one shot you see of it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I might show that in there. We
yeah,
can show all that stuff in the
yeah,
comments.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I'm gonna even
yeah,
send that
yeah. Yeah. It's but
it's really weird,
it's one of the
but it's
scary.
not. I don't think it's true.
None of it is true.
Yeah,
It's all nonsense.
but it's
There's
pretty.
always a logical explanation for everything.
Yeah,
That's why whenever people
right.
say a ghost is inhabiting, I just show me,
Yeah,
show, get the Ghostbusters if you're
yeah,
or go the Poltergeist. Remember that movie? But you know what? But they're good movies.
right,
I like the scariness.
right.
Did you ever see the movie Alien with John Hurt?
Yes,
Tell me, do you remember what happened in
that one. There was this
that?
one scene that they were all eating like lunch or breakfast or
Yeah,
something,
the
and
worst case of heartburn I ever saw.
yeah, and John Hurt all of a sudden gets sick.
Yeah,
And then the guy next to him goes, "Are you okay, man? So and so,
yeah,
whatever." His name was. Um,
yeah.
and then he started like kind of like he feel like he was throwing
Start
up.
shaking. Yeah,
Yeah, shaking, seizure, kind of like convulsions and all that. And
yeah,
then they put him laid in the table. And
yeah.
all of a sudden, this alien comes out of his stomach.
No, I think it comes out of his chest.
Oh, chest. Oh,
Yeah, it
okay,
just busts right through.
whatever it is. Yeah.
And I was in the
My bad,
theater
y'all.
like when it first. I mean, in those days, I saw movies like right away, like the first couple of days it came
Yeah.
out. And
And then
you
this
did not, you never saw
alien.
anything like that in a movie before. And then I mean, people were like, I had a friend, and she told me she and her she well, how did it work out? She went with her mother to see that, and then they had a fight before where they're going to sit. So they both sat at different parts of the theater, and when that happened, both of them, each one of them ran out of the theater in different exits.
Yeah.
And when like the movie
Yeah.
was over, they said, "Well, what happened at the end?" I said, "I don't know what
Yeah.
happened."
Then
Didn't you say for the end? No. Once I it came out of the person's chest, I don't know
yeah,
what happened.
after the alien comes out of his chest, he just swirled all over
Yeah.
the place. I was like, that scared me.
John Hurt was this great
Oh, he was a
actor
good actor
from
too.
England,
Yes.
and he was knighted and everything. I saw him in. I didn't see him in person, but I saw him in a very good version on television of King Lear, where he played the fool.
Oh yeah, I think he
And but but you know, well, tell us some of the movies you've seen John Hurt in.
the Elephant Man.
Well, yeah, that was
That
great.
was a powerful movie.
Yeah,
It was sad, but it was like he had
unrecognizable in that movie.
yeah
Yeah,
he had this heavy makeup
yeah.
to look like he was deformed.
Well, I mean, he didn't even look like himself. He was
That
nominated for an Oscar and everything.
yeah, he was good at it though. He was
Yeah,
you know it was a true story too.
yeah.
And it's sad because he was born with that deformity.
Well, people have that deformity. I
Yeah, I
once met
know.
someone, sadly, with that.
It was called
It's the worst thing I think that, but you know, you
they
still have to
called
live your life. You know?
that disease called it two things:
It's called elephantitis.
elephantitis,
Yeah,
Proteus syndrome,
mm,
neurofibromatosis,
yeah.
and all that. They call it like mixed things. So
And you know, plastic surgery can't help you
I know.
because your whole like bone structure
Yeah,
is different. Yeah.
yeah.
But anyway, so and John Hurt was in the Elephant Man. He was in a movie before all those movies that was very good called Midnight Express, where he played a junkie
Oh,
in a Turkish prison,
oh,
opioid junkie, and he was always shaking and everything. And
yeah.
he was nominated for an Oscar for that movie.
Oh,
And he's one of those actors that every time I saw his name in the credits, I knew it was going to be. He's in the first Harry Potter movie. He has like a cameo in
yeah.
it, and he's so good.
Oh,
Even in
I
that,
could not remember that.
he's
Was it the first one,
this
right?
is the first
Sorcerer's
one. Yeah,
Stone. Yeah, that was a good one.
he was very good in period stuff like the Elephant Man or anything that had to do with either science fiction
Or
or
biography,
something or yeah something
or
like
documentary type of stuff.
yeah
Like,
old stuff from like
yeah,
Dickensian sort of
you could play
Victorian
anything.
sort of plots and everything.
Yeah,
Yeah, he was he was very he was weird. He like lived with his wife for
yeah.
like 30 years or 30 or 40 years and she died and then they found
I
out
think he
and
died
then
too.
no he's dead now but at the time they he he had to disclose he was never married to her. They just lived together.
Yeah,
But you know, you live with somebody long enough, you're married to
yeah,
him. And he
yeah.
was like one of the first celebrities to do that. He kept it a secret until she died, and then but I think he eventually got remarried and lived another good 10 years or so.
Right.
You know, recently he's in the movie Contact with
Oh,
Jodie Foster. He
yeah.
plays this
I've heard of that one.
billionaire who builds a rocket ship. Oh,
Oh,
and he was ahead of his time
I
in that
haven't
part.
actually seen it, but I've heard of it.
Contact. Well, you know, don't mean to I don't mean to talk condescend or talk down to anyone out there,
Yeah,
but there's every movie. I like I said, I see every movie. I there's the opportunity to see movies are great now. There's streaming, there's DVDs, there's video,
yeah,
there's I mean, when I was a kid, like if you didn't see it in the movie theater, the next time you saw it was in on television, all
yeah.
cut out, all
Right,
cut to pieces with commercials in it. The ABC Sunday night movie, the CBS Friday night movie,
right.
and that was a poor version of of a movie.
Yeah,
And even when they first came on videotape, movies weren't so great because they had that
yeah,
they called them. It wasn't letterbox, so you didn't see, so you missed half the.
right.
Yeah, I'm glad now that we're letterbox. That's why I
Yes,
get mad whenever I'm on a show or something, and they don't have it,
yes,
Panavision style. They have it just black boxes on the left and
yeah.
right side and
Oh,
just in the middle.
yeah.
I said, no, 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 no. You could
Yeah,
do better than that.
yeah, I know.
Technology and everything.
Yeah.
And yeah, and John, there's a whole bunch of actors. One just died, William Hurt. There's William Hurt, John
Oh,
Hurt,
yeah, I remember
and
William Hurt.
John Hurd. I think all three of them are dead now.
Yeah,
But people would confuse their names. They said it was William Hurt in that or John Hurt, or was it
yeah.
John Hurd?
You can get confused
They're
sometimes,
all good actors, yeah.
Yeah,
But I tended to like the movies of John Hurt the best.
yeah, yeah. They
William
are
Hurt was
good.
good.
Yeah.
And so let's see. Oh, and let me tell you, we have a Another fine singer here.
I
This is
love
her
Katie
first album,
Lang.
or this is her first album people know. Katie Lang.
Yes.
And Katie Lang, uh, first time anyone saw Katie Lang was on the Johnny Carson show or on the David Letterman show. They both took a shine to her. And, but with the name Katie Lang and the way she was dressed and the way she looked,
Mm.
they didn't know. A lot of people thought it was a young teenage boy
Yeah,
singing.
yeah, I thought that too, but my mom used to have a cassette by her.
Yeah, it might have been this one.
It's,
Yeah.
I don't think it's that one. I think it was another one that's got "Pulling on the Rain,"
Okay.
trying to remain tall in the saddle.
Yeah. I have every one of her CDs. She doesn't have that many, about 10 of them.
I was going to
And
pick.
they're all good.
Yeah, I might get an album by her one day.
Yeah.
There's this one. I think it was one of the fresh ones. I think it was called Shadowland or something.
Shadowland is
Yeah, they had
probably my
that.
favorite.
They had that at
Yeah.
Barnes Noble. I was going to grab it, but I didn't have the money at the time, so.
Yeah.
But maybe I can get it online or something.
I, yeah, I'll get it. I have that out.
But yeah,
I'll make you a cassette tape of
yeah. Actually, my
I'll make you have a cassette tape player? Or I'll put it on VHS for you.
yeah,
It's really good.
my mom didn't have that
Yeah.
album, but she had another album that's got "Pulling on the
Yeah.
Rain."
This is it's neat. This is like her first. I mean, she had an album
Oh
before that,
really?
made in Canada, which is still good,
I
but
thought
it's a more simple, like more
I
independent
thought
label.
"Shallow Land" was her first album.
No, this is her first album, Angel with
Oh,
Lariat,
I did
and it's
a
produced. It was made in London. I mean, it was recorded in London by producer Dave Edmonds,
yeah,
who does a lot of great stuff, like the
yeah,
Stray Cat stuff and everything. And but then her second album was Shadowland, I think it
yeah.
was, and that was
So
produced.
that was
He
her
came,
second album.
but no, well, this is for all private. This is her first album
Yeah,
on
I
a
know.
major label,
Yeah,
and then her second album was called Shadowland, and it was Owen Bradley, who is that his name? Owen
yeah,
Bradley. He was the producer of all the Patsy Cline songs,
yeah.
and he was brought out of
Mhm.
retirement to do because she was sort of her band's name was the Reclines. Get it? Katie Lang and the Reclines.
Yeah,
So because she was trying to evoke the mystique of Patsy Cline and great singer and but Katie Lang's a great singer
yeah.
and she came to Richmond and I got to meet her
Oh, I
and
wanted to
it's
meet
still
her
one of
so
the and it's
bad.
one of the great celebrities I met because
Yeah.
everyone has a positive they if even if you don't care for Katie Lang
Yeah, I love Katie
as a
Lang.
performer or something you can't mistake that voice
Yeah,
and I don't
she sounds like Patsy Cline in a
Roy
way, sort of.
Orbison and Tony
Well, I
Bennett,
love Roy
but all
Orbison
these
and Tony
guys,
Bennett too.
Johnny Carson, they all took a shine
Yeah.
and promoted her because there's so many people without talent that you seem to hear over and over again. And Katie, nobody has a voice like Katie Lang,
Yeah.
and so she's one of those people that every time you take any song.
Yeah.
Happy Birthday to Me or Pop Goes the Weasel or something. And she would sing it better than anybody
Right.
with that voice of hers.
Pop goes the weasel.
No, no, she'd sing it. Pop goes the weasel. And then the wax in your ear would melt. But Katie Lang is so great. So if you haven't heard Katie Lang, and she doesn't really come up with that many albums. In fact, not only that, she doesn't really sing that much, have tours that much anymore because that voice she
Yeah.
has to protect it. And she's already in her 60s. You always think of Katie Lang as a young woman, but she's now I think 60 years old, and she
Wow.
has to keep that voice going like
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's Katie Lang.
Yeah.
So and I was too slow with that.
Yeah.
But in the comments, one of the best pictures ever is me and Katie Lang together. So I'll try to put that in the comments.
Yes.
We gotta get a run. I gotta write down all these comments I have to put on.
Yeah.
In fact, there won't be room for all of you what to say. I'll just
Yeah.
keep putting comments. Why am I even doing a show? I just run the comments.
Yeah.
I tell you something funny about Katie Lang. I understand she had one hit called "Constant Craving." I think won
Oh, I love
a
that
Grammy.
one.
That's actually it's
I was in middle
It's a
school when
good
that
it's a
came
good
out.
song. I'm not gonna take anything
Yeah,
away, but
yeah,
I
yeah.
like a lot of songs better than that. But that was
Yeah.
the one hit she had, and technically she's a one hit wonder, and usually
Yes.
she ends her live show with that, and
Yeah.
she always says, "I'm gonna sing now. I'm gonna sing a medley of my greatest hit."
The first song I ever heard of Katie Lang was
Yeah,
"Pulling Out the Rain,"
pulling out the rain.
and that's that. I think I consider that one my favorite because that was like the first song that I've ever heard from Katie.
I'll tell you how much I like Katie Lang.
Yeah,
Like maybe every two or 3 years she had
yeah,
a new album for about 20 years or so. And and as soon as I usually bought it, I didn't care what the price was. I didn't wait for it to go on sale or get the cutout bin or something. I bought it right away. And this is that time when you couldn't hear these things right away. You had to buy them. So and I didn't want to even hear it because I knew I was going to like it. And I would go home to my apartment and play it and just sit quietly and listen to it. I didn't play it in the car. I didn't have friends over. I mean, I did eventually, but the first time I heard it, I just wanted it.
yeah,
I just wanted to be alone with Katie Lang,
yes,
listening to that music.
yeah, yeah.
Alone with Katie Lang.
Just like
That won't
just
happen.
like me with my record collection.
Yeah,
I got to listen to it because I like to play them a little louder.
yeah.
But my dad, every time my dad comes to me, he's like, "Turn that down, turn that down." It's like I just don't. Sometimes I just don't like people around me. They're gonna tell me that because I want some freedom to play my music.
Well, when you're well, that's just it. When you're with people, when you're living in a place with people, and it doesn't even have to be. You could be in an apartment, but
Yeah,
then your next door neighbor may not like to hear them. And let's face it, they don't want to hear any music loud that encroaching on. When you're driving in a car and you hear that boom, but
yeah,
you don't
yeah.
want to hear
That's
that either.
different.
I remember they were asking some kid once says, "What about all the old people who don't like your music?" And he says, "Well, they don't have to listen to it." What?
Yeah,
We can't help but listen to it.
I know, I know.
But
Because
but the best, like you said, the best thing is when everyone's gone, and then you just play it loud.
I
And
remember when my mom was living,
yeah,
when I was younger, a teenager, I used to like to put on music loud. But
yeah.
I was young. Then my mom comes up to me, she goes, "Turn that down some now."
My dad used to come right in the room and just turn it. Sometimes he just turn it off, but usually turn it low, and sometimes he'd do that. That it sounds. He never got to the point where he where the needle goes when it stops all of a sudden
Yeah, I would
scratches
hate that.
the.
But
But that okay, and then I once bought headphones. The headphones were very expensive in those days, like $20 or $18. I think I
yeah,
bought them on sale for like $14. They're normally about $20.
yeah.
And I put them in, and my mom got so mad. She thought that headphones were for drug addicts and everything. But then when she noticed that the house was quieter,
Yeah,
why'd you put on your headphones when you're playing that noise?
yeah, yeah.
But this is in the '70s. But what was crazy is that now I'm very much against headphones, and the
Yeah, me
reason
too.
why
Yeah.
was I didn't like the idea of concentrating a whole stereo system into your ear. It makes no sense when you think about it. It's like sticking your head in like a lion's mouth or
When
something.
I when I used to have an iPod back in the day,
Yeah.
I used to have headphones all the time. Walk around or go out in public places like the city bus or something. I'd do that. But I don't do headphones as much anymore.
Well, I'll tell you, when I lived in Europe, they weren't big on loud music. I mean, they liked music like
Yeah,
everyone else, but
yeah,
they didn't blare it
yeah,
loud. And even when you went to see a concert, any
yeah,
concert like Elton John or somebody
yeah.
in Europe, U2, it wasn't so loud. But
Mhm.
then when you saw the same concert in America, it was
Mhm.
it was just blow you out of the place.
Right.
Your ears were ringing. And
Yeah.
and I and it was weird, like American punk bands were very loud,
Yeah.
but the British punk bands um were not as loud, but when they played in America they had to be louder.
Right. I remember one time I was getting ready to walk into my bus stop. And these two ladies behind me, you know, you know, you one of the ladies was like, when I had my headphones on, one of the ladies was like in the window, in the car window. So she was like, she like wanted me to like hear or something.
Yeah.
But it was it wasn't funny at the time. It was pretty irritating at the time. But, now when I think about it, it was pretty funny.
Well, when you go on a bus now, I mean, any bus, even
Yeah.
if it's just across town,
Right.
they always say, We do not allow big, loud music here. We only allow headphones. But your headphones, it, your music shouldn't be so loud that we can even hear them through your headphones.
Yeah.
And let's face it, if you're hearing, if someone's music is annoying you,
Yeah.
then it's even louder in their
Right.
head.
Right. Right.
I and so, but I remember in college. I mean, it basically was a who could get your music the loudest.
Yeah.
Oh, that guy across the hall. I don't like the way how loud he's playing his music. I'm gonna crank it my music up. My Herb Albert and the Tijuana Band.
Yeah. Yeah. I love Herb Albert and Tijuana Brown.
You don't want to hear it blaring out of your
Yeah.
loud.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I guess the I don't know. I guess it's a 1960s thing when music just got so loud.
Yeah. Yeah. Like late
I
1960s, maybe between mid to late 1960s.
all all in fact somebody the joke is about music is if you don't like it it's too loud.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks for having me here.
No
It's a
problem.
wonderful we just did this show on we didn't even plan on doing the show and I think
Yeah.
we did
Yes.
a fine job, so thank you
Exactly.
for having me here,
No problem.
Mary Elizabeth.
No problem. And I want to thank you all for tuning in to my fans. So, you know, just I do hope y'all have a wonderful evening and may God bless
And I want to say hi to my fan club too,
you.
both of them. The two guys. Two guys.
God bless you. Have a good night.